as if it wasn't bad enough that they have to fuck with age-old Christmas songs and age-old Christmas cartoon stuff that we all grew up watching, the claymation Rudolph and Charles Schultz's, Peanuts Christmas. And now they're calling God a rapist. That's not enough. The retarded-ass liberals have now called for a gender-neutral Santa. See, this thing's got me so fucking confused, I can barely speak. Gender-neutral Santa. Gender-neutral Santa. Let this shit sink in, people. Now, I know that my little page here only gets so many, views and stuff like that. So please, I understand it's probably hard to share some of this shit on social media, which is kind of the point. That's why I'm such a vulgar asshole. Because I say shit on here that I probably would get kicked the fuck off of Facebook for. But on the outside chance you're feeling froggy, please feel free to share this shit. I ain't beeping out dick. But seriously, a gender-neutral Santa. This is a fictional character. Okay? Don't show this shit to your kids, because I'm about to ruin fucking Christmas for them, because Santa isn't real. He's based on a real dude, St. Nicholas, who in Europe way back in the day used to go around and handing out, it wasn't necessarily gifts, but it was like little chocolates and shit like that to the kids, so I guess they are gifts. But it was just a guy, he was a nice old fucking man. And then he fucking died. And we use that as an inspiration in the season of giving. We didn't have a gender neutrality problem when St. Nicholas existed. Everybody knew what loo to use, considering that's what they called it. Guys went into the stand-up place because we had outdoor plumbing. Women went into the sit-down place because they had indoor plumbing. But I seriously doubt that the places where they were pissing and shitting even had plumbing at that time in history. But we still knew which room to walk into. Now, they want to take one of the most sacred things for kids. Okay, me personally, Jesus is the reason for the season, okay? And St. Nicholas was, in fact, actually a religious man. So we've kind of mixed the two, the fictionality versus the religion. But they're going to take one of the most innocent things about Christmas for little kids and Santa Claus, and they're going to try to make this motherfucker into some purple-haired, pussy and dickless thing. It's like it's going to be a bad episode of, what was that, Mad TV or SNL that did It's Pat? Now it's going to be It's what? You can't say St. Nick. Nick is a guy's name unless you live in 2018 when we don't know what toilet to use or what to name our fucking kids because they don't even know what they are. For the love of God, can we get back to fucking reality here? The guy is a fictional character based on a real man who has a dick and probably wraps that motherfucker in tinsel before he waves it at Mrs. Claus. Come on. Gender-neutral fucking Santa. God is a rapist. Gender-neutral Santa. Baby, it's cold outside. They need to rewrite that song. I think they did. I think I saw a thing on Facebook. She's like, I really must go. Fine, bitch, get out. I ain't gonna tell you it's cold outside. Hope you brought a fucking jacket. You want to know why? Because I understand. Oh, no means no. And it doesn't matter the explanations for the songs. Morons are going to be morons. And they're going to be like, oh, well, it's about rape culture. I have a son. God love him. He's growing into a very well-adjusted young man, boy, guy, dude, individual with outdoor plumbing who can reproduce with a female. And yes, I assumed his fucking gender, and I am into his head as a kid. Hey, look, son, you see that thing out there? You don't wave that to little girls. You stand up to pee at the toilet. And you know what? You lift the seat up when you do it, and then you put the seat back down, and you hold doors open for women because you are a young gentleman, and that's what you fucking do. But we've gotten so deluded as a society because we're letting the left tell us all this other kind of bullshit about what we should believe. Well, I'm sorry. And unfortunately for my son, he is going to become a young man, a young adult, in the most back to front, upside down, bullshit ass world that has existed to date. I mean, it's like I just wish the cavemen would turn around and be like, nah, we fucked up. Sorry, gotta go back. My girlfriend has a 4-year-old son, and she and I were talking about this earlier today. She feels bad. She feels bad for men nowadays. Yes, it's true that for centuries women were oppressed and this and that. You know, but then we passed these laws that made, you know, paying women less because they're women illegal, and you know, we finally passed laws that, you know, allow women to vote and all this other kind of stuff. And women right now, the fairer sex as they were once known. I don't know if we could apply that to most of the women nowadays. Actually, I think they're the more masculine sex in a lot of ways, especially now those that are suggesting we have a gender-neutral Santa. I mean, why don't we just go to the fucking circus and find the bearded lady and color that motherfucker white and dress the bitch up in a red suit? And while we're at it, what about the reindeer? You know, I mean, did they consent to be calling reindeer considering they're called fucking caribou? It's gotten ridiculous. Please raise your kids right. Share this video. Let's just get the stupidity out there. You know, it's fucking dumb. Dumb. You know, and it's funny because the left will sit there and they're like, well, we need to include everybody and we need to this and we need to that. Which brings me to the point of me watching a video where a young, obviously ancestor of a minority race, student at a college, I believe it was UC Riverside, is walking past another student who is wearing a Make America Great Again hat. Now, here's the thing. I've said this in previous videos. Okay, I will never vote probably for another Democrat ever again. But that doesn't make me the most staunch Trump supporter either. I do believe that the man has done some good things, and I believe the man has his drawbacks, but I'm not going to do this hero worship that everybody else does. I stick to kind of the middle of the road, which means I won't vote for extremist right-wing Republicans either. But here's my issue. This chick, this thing, don't want to assume it's gender, walks up and takes the hat off of the head of this guy. That would be literally assault and petty larceny, shoplifting, pickpocketing, robbery, theft. And walks back to some student affairs office thing and says, can you believe that he's wearing this hat on the campus that's full of mostly colored people? Okay, right there, she's obviously assuming that every single person that's not white is a Democrat. Now it's California, so they probably are. But she makes an assumption. One. Then she tells him that his hat stands for genocide, represents genocide. I would really like to know when the last time Trump ordered the mass murder of other human beings. And it represents racism, apparently, because he wants to keep all non-American citizens from entering the country illegally. How that's racist, I'll never know, because if you do it in another country, they fucking kill you. She kept repeating genocide, and then it kept repeating genocide again. Don't want to assume it's gender. And the statement made by the young man whose hat was taken says, you know, if you don't like this country, you don't like freedom of speech, because this thing at one point did say, fuck your laws, when he said that's theft. When he also said freedom of speech, and this thing said, fuck your laws. The young man responds, if you don't like it, you can leave. And this thing says, where do you want me to go? I was born here. He says, I don't know. Mexico's right down the road, or something to that effect. And this thing says, well, what makes you assume I'm Mexican? Okay, I have 2 ears. I have 2 eyes. And if it looks like a rose, or if it looks like a dog, barks like a dog, it looks like a duck, it quacks like a duck, I'm going to assume then it is a duck. Just like if it has tits and a vagina, I'm going to assume it's a fucking woman. I don't care how short your hair is cut up, and I don't care how butch you want to act. This was an obviously of Hispanic descent female whose, honestly, parents were probably illegal, which is why she got all offended by Make America Great Again. People, seriously, raise your kids to think for themselves, and don't raise your kids to be some dumbass fucking liberal that's going to go out there and tell you that you need to accept the fact that we need to have a gender-neutral Santa, that your religion is wrong, that your beliefs are wrong, and if you aren't going to believe the way that they believe, even though we should all be very inclusive and accepting, that they're going to be violent and they're going to steal from you and all this other kind of stuff. This stupid fucking cunt seriously just embodied every single stereotype that she believes the Republicans enact on other people, when in fact it was the party of the Democrats that enslaved people. Look it up. Lincoln was a fucking Republican, people. We're middle of the road. Then they say, oh, well, no, but since then and now, those roles have switched. Which basically what you're then telling me is that the Democrats and the Republicans switched in Lincoln's day up until this century, which makes FDR and JFK Democrats of the 20th century would have been Republicans in the 18th century, which means Dwight D. Eisenhower would have been a Democrat back. Fuck out of here. Until you start hammering away with facts, shut the fuck up with that bullshit. Okay? The Democrats enslaved people. Lincoln was a Republican, and he's the one that freed them. The Democrats continued their enslavement of people through the Civil Rights era in the 1960s, minus maybe one or two. You people are siding with people that want to keep you down. Why do you think you never find a Planned Parenthood or a welfare office in an affluent neighborhood anywhere in this country? You only find them close to the ghettos. Because the Democrats who consistently vote to fund these programs know that by putting them in those areas, they can keep their thumb right on top of you, and you're never going to pull yourself off the shit heap. Stop buying into their rhetoric, for the love of fucking Christ, please, and raise your kids right.